back on the roof here, boys. We've got the 180s, and this is the Essential. We got this Essential in. If you're on the Insta, you probably saw that. I fucking showed that. So that's a Radox, and then we got the 180s for the I'll show you. So the 180s need to go to this isolator here, and the that Radox for the Essential shit needs to go to here. We'll just come in here somewhere and up and in. Now this is a bit of a job because like these cables are so big and non-flexible. We've got our penetrations up there, you can see. So we were gonna originally, like the planned run, when I stepped all this out and got the cable lengths, we were going to go across and then down. But there's this lagging on this pipe has been done since, and it's like real tight. I mean, you can get your arm in there to tie in, but then we'd have to bring 180s in here, come up, and then across. And like if you've worked with these cables, I mean, they're basically solid copper. It's extremely hard to bend them. I'll just give you a little demo. I mean, see the end of it there. It's solid. I mean, with all your weight, you can get a bend like that, but like when you're reaching into a panel, you know, you're half a meter into a panel and you're bending it at max range, it's fucking pretty difficult. So what we're thinking now is that we'll come this way. Luckily, we've got the cable length because we had all the access back in the main switch room. So I had about 5 meters extra. So we'll come across this way, come down. There's another gland plate here, and then the cable wag down the bottom. We just got to make sure that there's enough to go all the way along, back up and in. It's a fair bit more. We're just lucky that we got the length, otherwise we would be coming down this way. And then the final option, if that's too tricky as well, this is a like IP rated board. We could put glands up the top here and drop straight down, which we don't really want to do because like long term the glands will degrade in the sun. We'd have to get some sort of sun cover or sunshade up there to prevent that. But man, this is a bit of a dicky job. So we've got some deck tights here, so we're going to seal up the pano up the top there. And yeah, so I'll show you. The boys are going to give this a crack now. It's just after lunch, so we'll see how they go with the Savo, and yeah, I'll give you a little update. But this is a pretty tricky job. I mean, even here, like the radius to get in there, it's got to be pretty tight. So yeah, I'll let you know. We've got the Tornado here, another one of Steve's creations, and it's either going to sweep in there and come across, or you know, straight and then sweep around. But we'll see. We've got the clocks, the medical clocks, so they're on a master and slave clock system. There's a router in this rack, and then we've got the nurse call TVs, which are the annunciators. They say if you know, someone's pressed one of the nurse call buttons, and then these ones are the nurse call field lights, which light up when someone presses a button on their bedhead. And these ones are for intercom, for access control and all that sort of jazz. So we'll be putting them in some patch panels, making it a little bit neater. They just wanted this in like terminated RJ45s, but that would have taken us heaps longer. So we're just doing them in patch panels. I'm just double checking some of the cabling, but other than that, it's going pretty well. Sorry, I got interrupted there. Yeah, I'm here. So I've got my earths across, and they loop down, and I've just put another cable tie mount in there, so they'll come up and swoop in nice and neatly. And all of these are my there's Dali control, emergency light, and switch wires and all that sort of shit. So that's going to go again down here. I'll put this piece of DIN rail in because there's really no room up the top there to mount anything. So I'm going to have an emergency light controller, so probably 3 4-pole emergency light contactors, and I'm going to have a few contactors for the basement to turn the basement lights on and off, because I've got these motion detector, active, neutral and switch wires coming up from the basement. So they'll be controlled by contactors down there. And yeah, there's some outside lighting and some pole lighting, I want to say. There's some pole lights coming here, so there might be another separate contactor again. And I've also got a PE cell cable which is coming from up there. I've stripped it up but I've labelled which one it was. So it's the PE cell switch wire is from here, so that'll, you know, it's like a sunset switch, so that'll turn some lights on as well. So I might do, there might be a relay set up here if I need to do, you know, motion detector versus PE cell, and I'll show you that when I get to it. But yeah, I'll get into fitting this board off, and you know, you should see some of these circuits terminated next time I see ya. Hey everyone, alright, so looks like we are going in this way. Good look at it without me, and well, with me, I sort of gave my input and then let them do what they want really. But yeah, we'll come down here. Only little thing up here, because of the just the cable flex there, we're gonna have to build some sort of cover. This tray all needs lid on it because of the like UV sort of shit coming down. So we'll have to make like a fucking galvanized cover to cover that, and then the tray lid can cover it when you know, when we're out of that big lump there, you know. It's fucking coming out heaps. Not much you can do about it though, so that's fine. Alright, then we'll come in here, shoot down the bottom, along there, up here, onto that cable management there, and fucking bada bing, bada boom, in here. So we're just going to do a 32mm hole, and we'll put a nylon bushing into it. We'll feed the cable in, and the bushing's probably going to pop out, but we'll just push the bushing back on once everything's in and set. I mean, obviously they haven't got bushings here, but you can see that this melamine, whatever the fuck it is, or Paxilin in the UK, I know, but I don't know what it's actually called. It's like a compressed sort of fibrey, horrible to drill through thing, but you can see that it's, you know, cutting into the cable a little bit. It is quite sharp, even though you know, what do you do, there's a little bit there too. So yeah, anyway, so we'll work through this and see how they go tomorrow. Weird. I've got a little update on this board that I'm in. I'm gone home for the day, so I'm just gonna spend another hour here, but I've got all my emergency actives coming in, and they're into my normally closed. See, they're normally closed breakers. So I've just got to get an emergency test switch. That's basically the edge of it there, so I had to bring the cables out and around just to give it some clearance. And then my basement lights. So I've adopted the method of one of my old project managers with conduit lighting, like in the slab. So it's obviously the slab in the basement's just in there. But what we do is run 5-core unearthed cables, at least to the first point, right? Ignore that, that's mess. But we run 5-core cables and then run building wire in the conduits. And the flexibility that it gives you is, how we run it is the red's going to be a hard active, the white is a switched active, however the lights are being switched, and the blue is an emergency active. So if you need to add a light later, or change something up, or do some alterations, there's basically a cable at each light that will do the job. It's a little bit more money up front, but like, you do one alteration and it's saved. Like, building was quite cheap, so I'm just going to populate the bottom of these, and then obviously this is really tight. Ideally I'd want a little bit more space for these contactors down here, but it's just the board that I've got. I can't really put them anywhere else. Like, this is all, I could maybe lift the chassis up, but that's a whole nother mission of a job, so I'll just persist with this. It's a little hard getting the screwdriver in there, so I've got to use the little stubby down the bottom here, but it's fine. It's like, it's going in alright. The top, I'll probably just bring the actives out of the breakers and just loop them in behind the chassis and just drop them in neatly. So that's how that's going to work. So yeah, loving this still. And look at that, you just drop that there, it's ready to go. That's been real handy in there because I can't really get my fingers in, like it is quite tight. So yeah, no, just a little update, but I'll show you a bit more, and it's looking really nice and neat. So one thing while I'm here, actually, so I've got emergency lighting contactors. I've got 4 of them. There's quite a few emergency circuits. This board also services this level outside of the operating rooms, and it services the basement as well. So I think 27 onwards. So they're all the basement emergency lights. Then I've got some outside lights. So these 2 contactors here, C5 and C6, they're going to be controlled by a PE cell, photoelectric cell, like sunset switch. So those circuits are front, I think 7's the front handrail lights, 14 some signage, I can't remember, there's some wall lights out the front, and 26 is some perimeter lights down in the basement at the back of the building. And then the basement has some 24-hour lights, but it also has some sensor lights as well. So there's some motion detectors down there. So basically every circuit that's down there might have 1 or 2, again, like handy because you've got a permanent active for a 24-hour light, but you can also switch the rest of the circuit. So I've just got to cable up those with the switch wires in this case. So I've got the blue for the emergency actives, which will go in here. This this will be sub circuits. So I'll have to run down the bottom of here. I'll have to find the specific circuit, and then bring that down to the bottom here and have a feeder at the top. So yeah, cool. Wow, now that's the sunrise, eh? Unreal. 6 degrees though, too fucking cold. Fuck that. I'm not even scared of heights, and that'd be sketchy. It's different being up high and being up a tree. Oi! Fucking Raggedy's done that before. I don't know what that is.
You don't have your deep fucking what's his name here?
Mm-hmm.
He's gone for way longer than my fucking. I'm gonna put fire, mate. I just couldn't get it in with the 32s. It's too fucking tight.
It's all good, bro.
Just 140s.
Yeah, well, that should be like at least an alley plate, not a fucking. What is this shit? Is it melamine? Paxilin?
Yeah, it's
something.
Just like timber.
Compressed shit.
But we it's probably better because you wouldn't want to gland that. The glands would just pop.
No, that's fine.
So I've got mastics, fireproof mastics.
I wouldn't, yeah.
And I'm gonna fill them up. I'm gonna pipe it all.
Yeah. No, that's all good, bro. I think that looks pretty good. All in all.
There's a bit of a twist
This
there.
is not an issue here. I can make a cover, or we just leave it. One of the two.
Yeah. They just weren't. These boards
I'll have
not
to
really
make
designed for these rigids. I don't
I'll have
think.
to make a cover up there too. We should have fucking gone in the top, honestly. Like, if the cable, imagine if the cables were a little bit shorter and we didn't have an option, we just would have gone in the top there, and job done. The glands are good, especially if we got steel ones. We got steel glands with compression. They'd never degrade, really.
I think we don't
put
have
something
a
on
78 plug.
I know for a fact we've got one because I've seen it. I'll find it for you.
I've got a 50.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah. Let me I'll duck down and I'll find it for you.
Yep.
Nice.
Right, and go. Release. Go.
do, pig. That'll do. That's fucking tight. Is that an 8mm bolt?
Yeah. Yep.
Fuck. There's your luggy lug, mate.
Oh, where was that?
Oh, I was just in with the other ones. It's alright, mate. I got them up.
When a man's got to go to the toilet, man's got to go to the toilet.
You know, you're allowed to have toilet breaks. Alright, well, I'm pretty happy with what the boys get here today. That's a pretty fucking tight bending radius for 180s, man. Like these cables are basically solid copper. A couple of cable ties to flush cut. And no, I'm not gonna take it all off here, but have a looky loo. Yeah, that's how. Oh, sorry. That's how it ended up. Yeah, again, it's extremely fucking hard to work with these cables, so it's pretty good clearance and everything. So we've just we'll seal that up. It's a little bit scuffed up. There's quite a sharp edge, but I wanted to put some bushings on, but I don't have 40mm bushings, so debating whether I'm gonna get some. And I mean, look at the deflection on the. It's putting a lot of pressure on the. It's fucking hard to see. Just looks like it's kicking it off to the right hand side there, but what do you do, man? I mean, these fucking things, it's only tech screwed on. Like, it's just a fucking pretty average board building. That should be threaded or nut and bolted at the bare minimum, in my opinion, but they've just tacked it on, but whatever. I didn't build the board, so it's not really my fucking problem. Yeah, so anyway, that sort of came up. You would have seen that earlier in the video, so that's all good in the hood. I need some 10 flex for my RCDs. The RCD leads on the 3-phase ones, the Schneider Vigi box, they come with a 10mm earth, but a 10mm neutral, but it's only like fucking 150mm long. Fucking stupid.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
What the hell? That's a good though, isn't it? Oopsies. There we go.
There we go.
That builds that down.
You know, it's actually a nice feature that it'll do continuity and voltage. Okay, that's good. All right, just go between your actives. So make sure the breaker's on. All right, and just we need to make sure that the polarity's right.
Between what?
Yeah, between like red. Okay, so it must go neutral and then follow the pattern. Red, white, blue down the way.
White.
Nice. Yeah. Easy. Good little check. I've had a flat out day of getting fuck all done today. Everyone else has needed me, but I got those in at least. So my emergencies are all done and my switched actives are all sorted. I've got some outside lighting to do, but that's in this bundle here. So we'll get to that one of these days. Fucking hell. Fucking everyone needed me today, and I didn't have like 10 minutes to get into that. I did about an hour this morning and that was it. So it's just how it is sometimes. Hashtag foreman life. Come up here for a shit as eye view, but got conduits in the slab here for pole light. There's a pole light there, rag bolts, and there's another pole light down the way. So they come from there, and then we've got pole light. So there's a spare there to go out that way for whatever in the future, just a lucky dip spare. And from here coming around, that goes to that conduit poking up there. It's going to be for a card reader to get into the roller door there. Quick easy little job. Oh, I'm not cutting anything, am I, mate?
Milwaukee don't have one of these yet.
It's kind of sexual there, isn't it?
I thought you could like it.
Yeah, he probably does.
You can adjust the deeper too, can't you?
You can adjust the deeper. You can put
Deeper!
knife blades in it, snap off blades, so you can use that to cut shit. Whatever fits in it. Just do the clean.
And you got a vacuum. You got a vacuum with him. Pop, pop, pop. Correctamundo. Ooh, yeah. What the fuck is going on? Ah! Best bit is that banging's the roofer. Oh, boys and girls and everyone, hi. It's a Saturday afternoon. I've just done a full day in this fucking kind of a board here, so I'll show you where I'm up to. I think last we spoke I was just delving into doing my contactor control down here, so yeah, I've got the test switch now. So I've got all the feeders from the breakers, the feed from the PE cell switch wire. I just got to, I didn't have many options because it's so tight, so I've just got it, like I've got a bit of length coming up and then they come down, but some of them are a little bit fucking chat looking, so I'll do a little bit of neatening up in there, just straighten them up a little bit, but it looks pretty good. I mean, you can't even see it from like there, so that's fine. And I've got all the outgoing, so that's the feed side, and then the outgoing is all down here. So switch wires for the basement, emergency feeds for the basement, and then emergency feeds for this level of the SDIs there. I've got the loops in for the, now I'm just considering breaking up the control circuit, because if we lose the control circuit for whatever reason, now there's a couple of sensors in the basement on the control circuit and a PE cell. PE cells are known to get a bit of water in them, even fucking when you silicon the fucking living shit out of them. And then there's 6 sensors in the basement, so they're all points of failure in the field. If this was just control in here for the emergency lights, I'd be happy having it on one circuit, but I'm considering breaking it up. So I might do one for the emergency control, and then I might split the PE cell and the basement sensors up, because if the basement, there's a couple of 24-hour lights down there, but if there'll be no lights in the basement otherwise. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 24-hour lights, so it'll be pretty dim down there, especially at night. So if the water gets into one of the sensors or the PE cell, going to trip the RCD. So yeah, other than that, I've done this side here. I've terminated all the, so I had tails going down to feed the contactors. There's tails for the emergency and for the lighting, and because the breakers here at the bottom are the feeds for down the basement, and they're the 5-core cables. So we've got the blue, so I've got 3 actual outgoings. One's for the emergency, one's for the switched, you know, down on the contactors here, one's for the basement switch lights, and then there's also an active coming out of this breaker. So there's three cores coming out of each one of the basement breakers. And as you go up, it's just like, for instance, this one's just one of the SDIs, so it's just an emergency circuit on this level. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it all came together. It's hard because I've got cables coming up and down. You can't make it as, like, you know, that looks a lot neater when it's just coming from the top. You don't have any chaos down here, and you've got to integrate sort of cables going up and down, so it doesn't look quite as neat. It's hard to tie it up. But then Feeds are only from that side up here, they come across, and then I'm going to do this on Monday. I don't know if I'm going home. But yeah, I've only got that board to go, and I've got Danny the gun upstairs. He's going to do the couple of boards upstairs. They're not as complicated. This one by far is the most complicated board in this project, so it'll be good to knock this one over. I've also got the Dali system stuff to, just because it's so tight, I'm going to have to put another piece of DIN rail up the top here, and then have there's about, I don't know, maybe this many, like that many poles worth of stuff. There's a 4-pole and then a couple of single pole Dali module things, so I'll have to put that up the top in behind the mains. I don't like putting it up there, but I don't have enough space to put it in down here, and yeah, so I think up the top there's my only option. It's a bit shit, but what do you do? Again, this board, like I really wish this board was just a single, instead of this and this one, it was just a single piece, because then I could have, I would have had the space to, you know, the edge of the board in that case would be here and sort of here, and I would have had space to get into this wall, and I could have put some modules on the wall, like some sort of load center, sort of domestic style, I don't know what they're fucking called, domestic style boards on the wall there, and that could have had the Dali gear, and it could have had the contactors and stuff, and I could have just run twins up to there. I don't know. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Anyway, I'm fucking out of here, boys. I'll see you next week. Is it fucking finished in here?